Thank you, Peter, Minister, Lord Mayors, Chair Maher Margin, Ahas Armaven Shaw, Liverish Galur Margin. The Lord Mayor of Dublin tells me he's just stayed here overnight, just so he could be here first thing in the morning. So I'm going to have to try that at some of our Belfast conferences. I wanted to touch on really three aspects of the cooperation between our peoples and our cities on these islands. And as you know, and the tour, our Visit Belfast agency doesn't allow me to say this, but you do know occasionally in Belfast we are divided by some things. And among those are issues on which we've been working very hard this year. Issues of flags, of anthems, of remembrance. And therefore it cheers me this morning that the first tweet I received this morning from someone I don't know showed me an image of Belfast City Hall lit up red, and it's a little tweet which said, "Doesn't our City Hall look beautiful today?" Now, the reason it's lit up red today is the launch of the Poppy Appeal, and traditionally the Poppy Appeal is not something which unites all the people of Belfast, because we are divided at times on how we remember the dead of past wars and the British military dead. But one thing that we agreed this year, after discussions that I had with the Royal British Legion and with the support of all my colleagues in Council, is that to mark the launch of the Poppy Appeal, that I would support the idea of lighting up City Hall red. And that is, I suppose, our attempt in a small way to emphasise the common ground, to, instead of focusing on what divides us, to try and find ways which are imaginative and generous, in which we can actually focus on common ground. So that was a nice tweet this morning, to see City Hall lit up red as a gesture of reconciliation from someone from my tradition, from the nationalist tradition, as a gesture of reconciliation towards my unionist neighbours in Belfast. I wanted thank you. I wanted then to continue in that vein by praising our British visitors who are here today in our British cities. And I want to in particular say to Ambassador Chilcot that when we visit the wonderful cities of Britain, it always amazes us and surprises us and thrills us and lifts us to see the great diversity of British cities. And I was in London recently with the Mayor of London, who doesn't have one of these glorious chains. He tells me he doesn't even have a car. And Boris Johnson also says he hasn't paid enough, but he may be angling for another more senior job. And sometimes when we think of these great British cities, we have an idea of monolith almost, of white cities, cities perhaps which look more like me than they do look. But in fact, the cities of Britain, and I include in this the great Scottish cities of Edinburgh and Glasgow as well, and the great Welsh cities of Cardiff and Swansea, but in particular I think of London. And one of the things that Boris Johnson said, he said in many parts of London when England play Germany and soccer no one's interested, but when Nigeria play Rwanda there are parties in the streets, because this is an increasingly diverse city and cities. And whatever the question is in Belfast, and occasionally they say this in New York, whatever the question is in New York, the answer is yes. And whatever the question is in Belfast, the answer is diversity. And I have found that as we seek to emulate the rise of great British cities, that focus on diversity is good for us as well. So I hope in the time ahead that in Belfast that increasingly it will be a city of culture, a city of many cultures, a city of diversity, a city where peoples from all across the world can come and help to grow the city. One of the amazing things about London, Ambassador Chilcot, is that between 2010 and 2020 it wants to grow by 1 million people, from 10 million to 11 million. And thankfully Belfast, after 50 years of population loss, is now growing again. And I think it's our task is to attract people from all over the world who want to come to Belfast to work in the industries of Belfast, the new tech industries in particular, to help grow the city, because the more diversity in Belfast, the better for Belfast. So that is one thing that I hope we will learn from Britain. The second thing is interestingly, our British cousins are often better at treating minority languages with respect and encouraging minority languages than we are sometimes on this island. And certainly the example from Wales, I know of some of our Welsh colleagues here, where the Welsh language is resplendent, is promoted prominently, is seen from the minute you come off the boat at Holyhead right through to Cardiff, is something that I hope in this country, and I talk for both of the cities represented here today on the stage, that I think we can learn as well from the British generosity towards Welsh and towards Gaelic in Scotland. And of course the devolved government is doing marvellous work in that respect as well. But I want in particular to focus on the peace, the building of the peace, and how our cities can help each other in that work. This new era, this new dispensation that we enjoy in Belfast relies on support, it relies on solidarity from the cities across these islands. I admire and praise and welcome the initiative by the Lord Mayor of Dublin to put a greater focus on Dublin-Belfast links, letting that be led by economics. And I hope that in the time ahead, as we build the peace and try and bring our people together on every issue in Belfast, that we will have the same type of support from the rest of the cities of the Isles. I look forward in particular to meeting the Lord Provost of Glasgow, Sadie Doherty. I suspect there's an Irish connection there, and in fact her father is from West Donegal, from Gweedore, and I think there's a great alliance there and partnership with Glasgow which has not yet been mined properly, just as I think that the ability to do much more between Dublin and Belfast exists as well. But I do want to say, in relation to the cities of York and Salford, some of whom I met their mayors yesterday, as we have so much to learn from what is happening on the regeneration front, that cities are the future, that all things good flow to the cities, that I think we are thrilled to see the progress being made in bringing back our cities as hubs of endeavour, of wealth, of ingenuity, of innovation. And I hope that together we can form a prosperous alliance that will not only bring our people closer together, but which will build the peace in my city, will build that peace with jobs, with opportunities, and with, I suppose, this alliance of people, which makes us all look out rather than in, and from which we can all learn. So thank you again for the invitation to be in here. I think this is a really invigorated and reinvigorated Cities of the Isles conference, and I look forward to taking part in the rest of the day's proceedings. Thank you very much.